Alright everyone, in this video what I want to do is I want to set the layer effect so that some of the leaves go in front of the wizard and some of the leaves go behind the wizard. So we're going to create a block called set layers, and one thing we could do is we could just grab an if then else and then do a coin flip. So if pick random 1 to 2 is greater than 1, then go to front layer, otherwise go to back layer. And then you kind of put the set layer in here. Now if you run this, what this basically does is it just goes 50-50, whether they go to the front or go to the back, whether they go in front of the wizard or behind the wizard, and it's kind of random. I don't really like that effect. This is what I actually ran it early, and this is what you get. So some of these things look like they're in front of other things that should be in front of them, and that's because generally speaking, as the leaves come down this path, as they go further down on the screen, they're closer to you. And so the things that should be layering on front should be further down, and the things that are layering at the back should be further back. Now, to fix this perfectly would be quite intricate and more trouble than it's worth, but we could do a rough approximation of something slightly better. So instead of picking random, actually we can just leave everything else the way it is. Instead of picking random, what we're going to do is we're going to decide based upon where these things are. So just bear with me a second. So let's make a variable and call it my ground for this sprite only. And then we're going to set my ground. See this here? Put it in there. So what was that? That was, we were deciding where it should, how high it should lie in the ground. It should be -95, so this line here. And then up a bit or down a bit at random, okay? And that kind of gave us a higgledy-piggledy effect. Well, now I've set the variable so that it says where exactly the higgledy-piggledy effect was. Was it a little bit higher than the normal line? Was it a little bit lower than the normal line? Well, we've stored that in set in my ground, and then we put my ground there, so that's where it places it on the screen. But now now that I've put it in a variable, I can use that value again. So I can say, hey, if my ground is less than, what was it, -95, then go to front layer. So if it's further down, go to the front. But if it's further up the path, go to the back. That's what that should do. And so that, it's not really perfect, but that should be a little better. Yes, it's a bit wrong in places, but it generally looks better. And if I walk through them, it looks a bit more natural.
Yum yum.
Now it's still not perfect because you can see here these little leaves are too high relative to the wizard's feet. If I was to fix that, I would have to relativize how far forward they are relative to how high the wizard is on the screen. And that seems like too much trouble for this effect. So I'm just not going to do it. So yeah, let's leave it there, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for listening, and if you find this video useful, please hit like and subscribe.